The Illuminated Adventures of
Flora, Ulysses, and DiCamillo.
Wow. So what happened? I think it's a he, the squirrel, Ulysses, ate the bag of cheese puffs and typed. So the Flora thinks the Squirtle, has superpowers of some sort from the vacuum cleaner, the Ulysses 2000X. And this is what a true friend does. They take the blame. Flora took the blame for Ulysses typing. She didn't say, "Nuh-uh, it wasn't me, not me." Who here has a not me living at their house? Not me. This one goes. Who here is not me?
Not me. I didn't break the glass. I take blame for my sister.
So you're taking the blame when you say you are not me. Put your hands down, girls and boys. All right. Chapter 15.
Already?
The electric chair. I'm sorry. Yes, already. When you say that, it makes me think, how many chapters are there? Hang on. Chapter 68.
What?
There are 60. Chapter 15, the electric chair. To say that the Buckman doorbell rang would be inaccurate. Something had happened to the bell. Its inner workings had become twisted, warped, confused, so that instead of emitting a pleasant ding or bong or... I do like a story with sound effects. It now sent an angry, window-shattering, you guessed it, the wrong answer on a game show host through the house. To Flora, the doorbell sounded like the electric chair. Not that she had ever heard of an electric chair sound, but she had read about electric chairs in The Terrible Things Can Happen to You. That particular installment of the comic had not contained any advice other than that it would be best to avoid getting in a place in your life where you might have to be faced with the electric chair and any noises it was capable of making. Flora had found it to be vaguely threatening and not at all useful of terrible things. That's your father, said Flora's mother. He rings that bell to make me feel guilty. The doorbell buzzed and crackled again. See, said her mother. Flora didn't see. See, people say see when they're like, see what I mean. They're like, see, even though you don't have to see it, you actually understand it. How could one person ringing a doorbell make another person feel guilty? It was ridiculous. But then just about everything that Flora's mother said or wrote sounded faintly ridiculous to Flora. For example, On Feathered Wings of Joy, the name of the book. Since when did joy have feathered wings? Don't just stand there, Flora Belle. Go open the door. Let him in. He's your father. Okay. He's here to see you, not me. The electric chair knell of the doorbell sounded through the house again. For the love of Pete, said her mother. I had a friend who used to say that all the time. What's he doing? Leaning on the thing? Go let him in, would you? Boy, does that mother sound agitated. She doesn't sound like the sweet author type mother I'm imagining she should sound like. Flora walked slowly through the dining room and into the living room. She shook her head in amazement. Upstairs in her room, there was a squirrel who could lift the vacuum cleaner over his head with one paw. Ferris. Upstairs in her room, there was a squirrel who could type. Holy Bagumba, thought Flora. Things are going to change around here. We're going to be vanquishing villains left and right. And she smiled a large smile. I could see, whoa, I've never seen such a large smile on such a small child. The doorbell gave another outrage sizzle. Flora was still smiling when she unlocked the door and opened it wide. Chapter 16. Victims of extended hallucinations. What are hallucinations? Hallucinations are when you think you see something. But it's not really there. It was not her father at the door. It was Tootie. Tootie Hickman, said Flora. Tootie stepped through the door and into the living room, and then she stopped, her eyes widening. What in the world? Yeah, they widened like that. Flora didn't even bother turning around. She knew what Tootie was looking at. That's the little shepherdess, said Flora, the guardian of lost sheep and light, or something. She belongs to my mother. So, interesting. Put that all away, okay? Interesting how that lamp keeps showing up in the story. Why does Kate DiCamillo want us to keep hearing about that lamp? I don't know. What do you think, Peyton? Because Flora thinks the mom loves it more than anything. Any other suggestions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Yes.
Her mom loves the lamp more than her.
Yes, that's what she thinks. Is it the truth?
No. Yes.
How do you know? Do you have personal life experience?
Yes.
Could a mom love a thing more than her own child?
No. Well, her child is a thing.
Her child is not a thing. Her child is her person. What else, Laura?
Maybe in a little, once we read a little more, there might be that might be like a clue about something.
So kind of like hang on to it. We might learn even more, but I have to agree with all three of you guys that she loves it more than anything, or at least Flora thinks she loves it more than anything, especially her. And we might hear more about that silly looking, that lamp. That is her very favorite lamp that she got with her very first royalty check. And that's what you get when you sell books. And you too, ladies and gentlemen, can sell your writing of your very own stories. You just have to get creative in how you present it. And that's what Kate DiCamillo does. Well, never mind about the lamp, says Tootie. She took another step closer to Flora. Where's the squirrel? She whispered. Upstairs, Flora whispered back. I've come to check to see if what I think happened yesterday actually happened, or if I'm just a victim of extended hallucinations. So did she imagine it, or did it happen? Flora looked at Tootie in the eye. Ulysses can type. Who can type? Said Tootie. The squirrel. He's a superhero. Tootie said, for heaven's sake, what kind of superhero types? It was a good and also slightly disturbing point. How exactly was a typing squirrel going to fight villains and change the world? George, shouted Flora's mother. It's not Pop, Flora shouted back. It's Mrs. Tickman. There was a silence from the kitchen, and then Flora's mother came into the living room with a big, fake adult smile plastered on her face. Oh, hi, Mrs. Tickman. What a lovely surprise. Give me your fake smiles, girls and boys, your fake ones. Oh, my goodness. You're really good at that.
Hi.
Yes, that's plastered on a fake smile. Where was I? What a lovely surprise. What can we do for you? Oh, I just came to pay Flora a visit. When you pay a visit, you visit. You're not paying for anything. Who? Flora, your daughter. Really? You came to see Flora? I'll be right back, Flora said. She ran out of the living room and through the dining room. What an extraordinary lamp, she heard Tootie say. Oh, do you like it? Said Flora's mother. Ha! Thought Flora. And then she was out of the dining room and into the kitchen. She ripped the paper out of the typewriter and looked down at the words, and there was absolutely not a hallucination. That means it was real. Holy bagumba, said Flora. A loud scream echoed through the house. Flora took the paper and shoved it down her front of her pajamas and ran back to the living room. Ulysses was sitting on top of Mary Ann. Or rather, he was trying to sit on top of Mary Ann. His feet were scrabbling to gain purchase on the little shepherdess pink-flowered lampshade. He paused in his efforts and looked at Flora in an apologetic and hopeful way, and then he returned to the wobbling back and forth. Oh my. So here's the lamp. Here's the lampshade. The dress. It looks like a dress, that lampshade. And the squirrel on the top.
That's Flora.
That is the squirrel with the lamp that Mommy loves so much. And she named it what? Mary Ann. It absolutely scared the living daylights out of me and Mrs. Tickman. We screamed. Oh, I skipped something. Oh, my goodness. How did it get there? Flora's mother shouted. It just came flying down the stairs. Yes, said Tootie. She gave Flora a meaningful look. Flying. It absolutely scared the living daylights out of me and Mrs. Tickman. We screamed. We did, Tootie said. We screamed. There's just no end to the excitement. If that squirrel breaks my lamp, I don't know what I'll do. Mary Ann is very precious to me. There we go with the preciousness of that lamp. Mary Ann, said Tootie. I'll just get him from the lamp, okay, said Flora, and she put out a hand. Don't touch it. It has diseases. It doesn't have diseases. That's something a mother would say. The doorbell, as if it were echoing Flora's mother's advice, buzzed its terrible warning buzz. Flora and her mother and Tootie all turned. A voice called out. A voice that said, Great Aunt Tootie? What? Chapter 17. I Smell Squirrel. I smell squirrel, I smell squirrel. There was a boy at the door. He was short and his hair was so blonde that it looked almost white.
Huh?
His eyes were hidden behind enormous dark glasses. In addition to terrible things can happen to you, the illuminated adventures of the amazing Candisto regularly featured a second bonus comic entitled The Criminal Event Among Us.
Among Us?
The criminal element gave very specific pointers on how to never be fooled by a criminal. And one of the often repeated dictums of the criminal element was the best way to get to know a person was to look him directly in the eyes.
Oh my God.
You're not looking at me for some reason. Flora tried to look the boy in the eye, but all she saw was a reflection of herself in his dark glasses. She looked short and uncertain, like an accordion in pajamas. William, I told you to stay put, said Tootie. I heard screaming, said the boy in his high voice and thin. I was concerned. I came as fast as I could. Unfortunately, on the way over, I had a small but extremely violent encounter with some variety of shrub, and now I am bleeding. I think I'm bleeding. I'm pretty sure I smell blood, but no one should be concerned. Please don't overreact. This is my nephew. Great, nephew, said the boy. And I hope I don't need stitches. Do you think I need stitches? His name is William, said Tootie. William Spliver, actually, said Tootie's nephew. I prefer to be called William Spliver. It distinguishes me from the multiplicity of the Williams in the world. And he smiled. It's a pleasure to meet you. Whoever you are, I would take your hand, but as I said, I think I'm bleeding, and also I am blind. You are not blind, said Tootie. I am suffering from temporary blindness induced by trauma, said William Spliver. Temporary blindness induced by trauma? Temporary blindness induced by trauma. The words sent a chill down Flora's spine. Seemingly, there was no end to the things that could go wrong with human beings. Why hadn't terrible things can happen to you done an issue on temporary blindness induced by trauma, or, for that matter, one extended hallucinations? I am temporarily blind, said William Spliver. How unfortunate, said Flora's mother. He's not blind, said Tootie. But as of this morning, he is staying with me for the summer. Imagine my surprise and excitement. I have nowhere to go, Great Aunt Tootie, said William Spiver. You know that, and I am at the mercy of the winds of fate. Oh, said Flora's mother, and she clapped her hands. How wonderful! A friend for Flora.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Oh no.
I don't need a little friend, said Flora. Of course you do, said her mother. She turned to Tootie. Flora is very lonely. She spends far too much time reading comics. I've tried to break her of that bad habit. But I'm very busy with my own novel writing, and she is alone a lot, and I'm worried that has made her strange. I'm not strange, said Flora. This seems like a safe statement to say to someone truly profoundly strange as William Spiver. I would be happy to be your friend, said William. Honored, he bowed.
What?
How lovely, said Flora's mother. Yes, how lovely, said Flora. The blind, said William Spliver. Even the temporarily blind have excellent sense of smell. Oh, for heaven's sake, said Tootie. Here we go. I have to tell you that I smell something out of ordinary. Something is not quite unusually smelling within the confines of the human domestic sphere,
It smells squirrels.
said William Spliver. Sphere. He used one of our words.
That's